How's everybody doing tonight? Let us all know in the chat, and let us know what you want to talk about. You can talk about whatever you want. In the meanwhile, we're going to talk about this Ugears Mechanical Celesta. It looks like a piano to me. Not really sure what makes it a Celesta. So all we built yesterday is these two ends. I'm not sure which end is which, really. We were looking through the sheets yesterday. Here's the instructions. And we were looking through the boards. And there's a lot of repetitive pieces in these boards. They didn't really look like, they look like the pieces are very repetitive. I think this puzzle's going to be easier than a lot of other puzzles. It might not necessarily go quicker, but it's easier. There are some weird pieces. This I don't know, what's this shoelaces they gave us. Some little wooden somethings. And then of course the musical pieces. I guess they have a length to them. They're different lengths. That probably determines the sound. There's some rubber bands in there. I don't know. We'll get to it when we get to it. The instructions, they went pretty well yesterday. We got up to page 8 very quickly. It was the first day of this puzzle. We didn't really even do that much. But we got through 8 pages, or we got through 7 pages. Well, I guess the first couple of pages were kind of instructions or whatever, not assembly instructions, but just general guidance or whatever. All right. So something about this page 8 made me stop. Looking at it now, it doesn't look that. There's a lot of red going on. That's a little weird. They're asking for these pieces to all be sanded and waxed. That can be a little time consuming. All right. So old board 1. Should we go one picture at a time? Yeah, let's do that. So the first picture has 3 pieces, a 6 and 2 7s, and the 7s need to be waxed. So that's going to bring us to 20 pieces total. So we need a 6 and 2 7s from board 1. Is this board 1? Are these 6s or are these 9s? Okay. Make it so we can read the 3. Oh, yeah, I got it up inside out. All right. Oh my goodness. How many times am I going to have to turn this board till I can read that 3? All right. If you can read the 3 here, then that makes that a 6. All right. A 6 and 2 7s. There's 3 7s up here. So we need 2 of those 3 7s. Let's grab these 2. They're kind of in the same pocket. It only says to wax the 7s, but I feel like I should sand them too. Why would I wax them without sanding them? But if I sand them too much, I be careful not to sand them too much. You don't want to change the shape. Sand them, wax them. I'm waxing the edges and the faces because you never know. All right, now 6. This is 6. It's a symmetric piece, right? I don't think it matters how we put the 7s on. So we'll just put 1 7 on each end. Get it in all the way so that it's flat top, they're nice and even. That's the plan anyway. I don't know how long this this build is going to go. I don't know how many days it's going to be. By the way, that first picture we did, it had a 1. So the second one, picture that we're going to do has a 2 here. So we're going to do that second. There's a lot of going on here on this too. It's a new piece. No, it's not a new piece. We're going to build off of this, and we're going to add 8s and 9s to the ends. And there's some instructions like make sure the dot is facing, make sure the dots are lined up. Like all the pieces have dots, line them up. And then make sure the circles are sanded and waxed, and make sure the gears are sanded and waxed. So there's a lot to do here, but it's just 4 little end cap sort of pieces. So we're going up to 24 pieces. So anyway, 2 8s, 2 9s. So what I was thinking is, instead of like speaking kind of randomly or about the news, I thought I'll have a theme. So for the length of this puzzle model, however many days it takes, the theme will be like self-education. And you're, welcome to put whatever you want in the chat. Maybe I'll look up some topics during the day. But for tonight, I'll just start with what I've done. Because can you really buy an education? I know people pay a lot of money for education. And there are some people who are serious. There are people who are lifelong students. But I think a lot of people, their parents buy them an education in the hopes that the student will learn something. And it's like not a guarantee that they will. There's a lot of 9s here. I think these are all 4 of these 9s? I think so. I'm just going to grab 2 of them. So you really have to be in charge of your own education. It can happen at a school. It can happen at a library. It could happen on YouTube. You could learn from observing. You could learn the School of Hard Knocks. But every person, I think, has to take control of their own education. Like, nothing's going to really happen if you don't want it to happen. And if you don't at least accept it, but maybe you have to do more than that. Maybe you have to go out and earn it. Sort of depends what you're learning. I was a computer science major in college, and I was into computers before everyone else was. So career-wise, that made things kind of easy for me. Like, I would just be playing with the computer, and that was like valuable business skills I was developing. But to me, I was just playing with the computer. So it was I kind of lucked out. But there are some things I've done. And I can't promise that these are more effective than the things that you might have thought of or someone else might have suggested to you. But they're just things that I've done, and take them for what they are. So there's obvious things, reading, working on math, as I mentioned, writing computer programs. But I'm going to mention something that's less obvious. It was a very deliberate thing that I did. I started doing it when I was a freshman in college. All right, so I'm standing. So I sanded these 4 pieces. Now I'm waxing them, and it had a library like right on the campus. Like, you didn't have to drive to the library. You didn't have to walk to the library. It was like a minute from the dorm. So that to me was great. But I didn't really know what to do with a library. So nowadays it's very obvious. Not very obvious. It's very easy. You have the internet. But what I was doing in that library in pre-internet days, because internet web didn't exist yet, there might have been email and That might have been IRC, I'm not sure, but there was no like web browsing yet. That hadn't been invented yet. Tim Berners-Lee didn't make the first web page yet. So, all right, let's remember that there's dots on these pieces and that we have to keep them lined up. There's dots on the pieces and we have to keep them lined up as we put them onto this piece. So I went to the library. This was not once. This was like, literally I would do this like when I was bored. It was like something that I did once. Okay, I sort of evolved. Like I first just went to the library like, I think I'm in college. I think I'm supposed to go to the library, and I went there. And then I went there, I didn't know what I was supposed to do there. So I sort of randomly pulled out a book. It evolved, the process evolved very naturally. So I'll describe it in that same way. So I grab a book and I sort of flip it open. And then I quickly realized that starting at the beginning of the book is going to take too much time. So I just like randomly flip through the book and I start reading. And I read until I learn something that I didn't know before. Maybe I don't find it right away. Maybe I flip around a few different pages. Maybe I think like something's not, I need to learn something better. I need to learn something that strikes me as more useful, and I keep flipping. But the point is, like, within a few minutes, I find something of value, and I actually write it down in a notebook. It's not for a class I'm taking. I don't remember what the book was. I didn't select the book. I didn't search for the book. Nobody recommended the book. I just opened up a random book. And then I learned something. And then I put the book back. And then I randomly walk to another section of the library. I know I'm describing something that sounds insane, but it actually worked out great. I'll go to some other random section, pull out some other random book, go to some random page, and again start reading and potentially flipping around until I read something that I both haven't heard before and I thought sounded useful. And then I write it down, and then I put the book back, and then I go. And I do this, I don't know how many books, but this is kind of like nowadays, or not even nowadays, like when the internet first came out and people would say like they're surfing the web. Now people like follow patterns when they go on the internet, and there isn't this random web surfing anymore, but there used to be. And that random web surfing was similar. It's actually, the web was made for that. People used to hyperlink. Like now the backlinks are all like manipulated by marketers, but there was a time when people would just, the way links work on Wikipedia, that's the way the whole internet used to work. All right, so moving on to section 3. We need 2 10s and 2 11s. We're again going to put them on both ends, and we're again going to sand and wax them. So that's 4 more pieces. We're up to 28 pieces. So 2 10s, 2 11s. So I was just flipping through books, randomly finding information, going on to the next book, randomly finding some information there. And you might think, well, why not keep reading one book? And I do agree with that. For the long term, you ever hear that expression, all roads lead to Rome? I think you can also say all quests lead to universal truth. And by quest, I mean whatever you choose to do with your life. So if you choose to be a veterinarian, if you choose to be a policeman, if you choose to be an heating, ventilation, and air conditioner repairman, whatever you choose to be, you take that subject and you really learn it. You stick with it. You become an expert over the years. And you never stop learning more in that field. 50 years, however long your career is. However long your career is, you keep learning in that one field. And you will keep learning. And you will uncover the secrets of the universe. Like, no matter what subject you pick, as long as you stick with it, you're eventually going to get to the secrets of the universe. Like, all roads lead to Rome. You're not gonna miss it. You don't have to worry about it. You'll get there. Just pick a subject and you'll get there. But that's not what I was doing in the beginning. What I was doing in the beginning is I was flipping from book to book and stopping as soon as I learned something. Now, keep in mind, I was probably 17 years old at the time, and maybe turned 18 a few weeks later. But this worked for me at that age, and I think the reason why it worked didn't really make sense to me until probably decades later. I'm just studying the instructions. It looks like I don't need to worry about a dot on these two pieces. There's no dot on them, so I'm not going to worry about that. So the reason it worked back then, I think, is the same reason that fractals and holograms work. All right, so that's what it looks like with the 4 pieces on one end. So a fractal, you look at, say, a coastline or, some type of nature pattern, and then you zoom in on a segment of it, and it looks the same as the big part of it. And it's the same thing with a hologram. You've got a hologram, and you look at it, and it's a picture of whatever. Let's say it's a picture of Batman or something. And then you chop the hologram in half, and then half again, and now you have 4 pictures of Batman instead of like 4 quadrants. Like, that's the way the hologram works. And I think back then, I'm not sure if it's still going to hold today. You might have to listen to podcasts today, but back then it worked by reading books. And you read a book, and at some point, forget about the facts that you learn. Another valuable thing that you learn, by the way, this is done. We're going to start a new one now. So another 6 and 2 more 7s. That brings us to 31 pieces. So what you would learn nowadays from a podcast, and in the late 80s, early 90s from a book, is you learn the author, or nowadays the podcaster's, view of the universe. You learn where they're coming from and what they think and how they see things. It doesn't seem like it should be. It's like, well, I just read like a page of this book. Yeah, that's the thing. Weird, isn't it? The facts are the same no matter whose book you read. And I'm not even talking about the opinion that's changing. It could be in the phrasing. It could be in the order of presentation. It could be in anything. But you get, when you read the book or listen to the podcast, you get a sense for how that person views the world. And that's what you're learning. You might also pick up some factoids, but that's something that you're learning. And every person has, no matter how they live their life, they've learned something. And they have something to tell. And they don't even know what they're telling. You're going to gain that by just listening to what they emphasize, how they present, how they order, how they feel about it. It's like they don't even know that they're communicating all this to you. But it's there. And you're going to learn it. Why are we blocking this hole? Does that seem weird? We're putting the 7 onto the 6. But when we do that, it blocks this hole. You know what? I think the hole makes it stay in there. Let's look at a 7. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's barbed, but I think it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit. Look at that 7 piece. Look at the head on it. It a little bit like sort of dips in, is cut in. So the 6 piece has a rectangle in it. And I think when the head goes over the rectangle, it kind of snaps into that and it's like locked on. Now I can't remove that piece. So that's actually good. That's cool. All right, so we're up to page 9 now. So the first piece of advice is read something until you get something. And then the next piece is like listen to a person till you understand the person. And then a third piece is deep dive until you make it to the end. There's a deep dive. No matter what you pick, there's a deep dive. All right. Getting back to the puzzle for a second. We're now on page 9. This is kind of a repeat of what we did with the previous. Like, I don't know why there wasn't just a ×2. Maybe at some point it's going to be different. Because, like, I see that this is going to be named day 4. And the previous one was named day 3. So I'm going to put the one named day 3 over here. And I'll put the A4 like over there. I'm not really sure what's going to be different about them. It actually looks to me that they're not different. It looks to me that they're exactly the same. It's the 6 and 7, followed by the 8 and 9, and followed by the 10 and 11. So I don't see how they're any different. And then we're going to build a third one. If you look at the instructions. So I don't know what's any different about it, but I mean, we'll keep them straight. They want us to keep them straight. We'll keep them straight. But right now we got more sanding and waxing to do. Yeah, it's going to be repetitive. Might be not so easy to talk about all this and trying to stay on one topic, which is the topic of education. Well, another thing to do is listen. I know that you sometimes need to talk as well, as I'm doing right now. But you also need to listen. It's like, I mean, podcasts are an easy way to listen to people nowadays, but they're not like a guaranteed solution because the person presenting the podcast, they might be trying to make it entertainment. They may not be like totally speaking from the heart. Sometimes it's good with an interview, but nowadays the interviews are staged. Like the further you go back in time, like if you watch like Jimmy Fallon tonight, everything that he asks, the person answering it, they're acting and presenting in their answer. They don't just know the question's coming. They've like worked with the staff on what the answer is going to be. There's like no surprise. But if you went back 30 years ago, you'd see people give answers, but they're like trained as to what's good to answer on that type of show and what's not. But if you go back like 60, 50 years ago and watch like Johnny Carson's show, or Dick Cavett, or whoever these bunch of interview peoples are, you can really see the people, they're answering the questions honestly. They're like thinking. It's like nowadays if you would just talk to your friend, in an honest setting. Why is this piece getting destroyed? I was like sanding it and it was like getting destroyed at the same time. Anyway, you can watch like old interviews and the people give honest answers. Even people like nowadays, I don't know who's the biggest star nowadays, but you don't expect any honesty from a celebrity these days. It's all like just engineered to sell product or increase recognition or get you to watch a movie or something. There's like not really any honesty. But it used to be that the people being interviewed were just like regular people. Like John Lennon would be interviewed, like post Beatles he would be interviewed, and he would answer questions like he was a schoolboy. He maybe not always, but basically it was a more honest time. People were more authentic. They weren't as rehearsed. You could actually find out what someone thinks by listening to them answer a question. It's not really, you don't get a lot of that in this day and age. People don't even do debates anymore. That used to be another great way to learn, is listening to people debate. There's still some people who do it. In fact, on YouTube, it's kind of popular. The one good thing about YouTube is the formats that are gone from regular TV are still on YouTube. And the sort of authenticity that's gone from regular TV is often still on YouTube. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that are completely fake, but there's some that are real. Listen to the ones that are real, that you feel that you get something out of. And listen to them all, because you can't, if you only listen to one person, that becomes almost like a cult. I'm not saying it's a cult, but it's like, maybe cult of personality is the expression. It's like you're learning their answers. You're repeating their answers. If you just listen to one person, like every day for hours at a time, because I know there's that format still exists in some places, and you don't want to get trapped in that, in my opinion. All right. So, for some reason I scrolled back to A3, but I don't think there was any difference, was there? 8 and 9, yeah, no difference. And now I'm going to add 10 and 11. All right, so I accidentally scrolled backwards, but there was no harm. So we're adding 4 more pieces, 10s and 11s. So we're up to 35 pieces now. Oh, you don't see the scoreboard. Why don't you see the scoreboard? Okay, now you see it. So I was able to see the scoreboard on my screen, but it had like an outline on it. And that outline indicated that I could change the position. And I guess I had never tapped the screen after that. I tell you, I had a problem when I started the YOLO box today. The screen wasn't working. It was blank, which is the same thing that happened to my previous YOLO box. And I was thinking like it's not going to work, but it ended up, I rebooted it and then it worked. So, but now I feel like it's eventually going to have that problem. Like it's not a unique problem to the prior YOLO box. It seems like they all have it. There's going to be some YOLO box Ultra soon, but I don't want to have to upgrade because this one fails. I'll upgrade when I feel like upgrading. I don't want to upgrade because it's like designed to fail. Oh, I did this wrong. One side gets a 10 and 11. The other side gets a 10 and 12. So that does make this piece different. So I'm going to put one of the 11s sort of off to the side. It'll probably be an extra. And I'm going to take out the 12. We need a 12. There it is. There's the 12. I'm just sanding and waxing all the pieces. All right. Now, I don't think it matters. I don't think there's a difference between the two sides. But whatever side you put the 12 on, now then there becomes a difference. But there isn't a difference until you put it on. I don't think. There's a lot of wax and splinters building up on my table tonight. Alright, so we'll do a 10 and 11 on one side. And a 10 and 12 on the other side. Okay, there's the 10. And there's the 12. I don't think there's, I think it's a symmetric piece, the 12. And there's no dot on it. No special instructions, just put it on whatever way it fits on. All right, so there's, what are they calling this piece? A4. There's A4. Put it up there. All right. A4 is done. And now, what is going on here? Now we have to pick back up the piece A1, which I don't even remember which piece that is. I think we can tell kind of by looking at them. Yeah, I guess it's this piece. Just because it looks like the picture. So this is A1, and we're going to connect to it a piece known as 13. So that's the 36th piece. All right, where's 13? Here it is. Here's 13. There's actually 3 of them, which means this is not going to be the only time we do this. Is this going to fit in here? That's not going to fit. What? Oh, in here. Okay, this is where it goes. All right. Okay. 13 is symmetric, so we just shove it in there. Well, wiggle it in there. Shove it in there, you might break something. All right. There's 13. And that concludes page 9. So we're now up to page 10. Page 10 uses board 1. What are we doing here? We're adding a bunch of, we're adding 3. What's going on here? You know, it's saying times 3. Is it a continuation from the previous page? So 13 times 3? So really that means times 2. Yeah. All right, so we're going to put 13s here and here. So by times 3, they mean times 2. Well, it is times 3, actually. Sorry. I don't know why I made that comment. It is times 3. That was stupid what I said. All right, here's the 2 other 13s. And they're just going to go into the 2 other slots here. Not much to, like, screw up here. But I'm sure we can find a way if we really want to screw up. For example, next we're going to be putting on those, what, A3 and A4 pieces. I'm sure those will be tricky. All right, so the one with the 12 on the end, that goes in this like lower space here, like this. Oh, I think I know what we're building. If you look back here, you can. That's what we're building. So this is like that sort of player piano track. That's what we're building here. So the A12 piece went to here, and then up top here goes the other piece. I think this doesn't matter which direction you put it in. I think it can go either direction. And I feel like this piece needs to go on the other side. Let's take a look at page 11 and see if that's what, yeah, that's exactly what happens. And then we also add 2 14s. So we're up to 40 pieces. Not really sure where those 14s go just yet. I guess I'll do that last. I'll connect this to this, and then we'll figure out where those 2 14s go. But I'll pop them out now, and I already counted them just so I don't lose track of them. All right, there's the 2 14s. Now, okay, look. Remember this piece down here? This 12 or whatever it was? Look at the size of that hole. That's where it's going to go. All right, so I guess we got to line this up here. It's not going to be easy. Those 13s, I think they were called, they're going to be tricky. Yep. What's tricky about them is you not only have to get them in, you have to get them in without like breaking those circle pieces right next to them. Like they were easy to get in as singles, but as part of a, see what I mean? As part of a construction, they're a little trickier. Or maybe you just pop this back in at the end. Let's see how that goes. Well, everything's falling apart. Well, let's see if we can get this back in. All right, let's put the bigger end in first, maybe. All right, there we go. Back in. All right, now the circle goes at the top. The one that's just a plain circle. And there's another stick right next to that. Up top here, if we can get that in, that's going to help out matters. Let's see if we can get that in. Doesn't want to go in. Let's get this one lined up as well. Maybe this one will go in first. All right. I'm just trying to get it in without breaking this circle piece. It's trickier than you might expect. Not breaking, but without even dropping it. All right, I'm just going to squeeze it and hope for the best. Got it. This connection is not fully on. Got that. This one is also not fully on. All right, everything is good. Right now, everything is good. Kind of looks like the back of Santa's sleigh or the front. I'm not sure. All right. I don't know. We built something. It looks like there's a piece missing here. I don't know. We got something done. This is A5. I mean, oh no, we're not completely done. We didn't put these 14s in there yet. So these 14s go here, they say? Well, there's nothing really going on there. Oh, they just kind of lock it in, I guess. So there's these little, like, like squares here. And these 14s are going to go in there. And they're just going to kind of lock that circle in there, I think. I think that's what's going to happen there. Yep. If not, it falls through, as you see. Not sure why it's like that, but it is like that. So we need this 14 to keep it in place. 2 14s. One on each side. All right. What is going on with my computer? You can't see that. My computer had opened up Windows Explorer and put it in front of... I was about to call it Internet Explorer, but it's actually Microsoft Edge. I don't know how that happened. Okay. All right. So now this piece doesn't fall out anymore because it's held on by those 14s. And that's the end of page 11. We're moving right along, huh? Oh, what's going on this page? Something going on here. Looks like we're like mass producing something. Yeah, look at that. Times 19. Times 19. Whatever we're doing on this page, by the way, this one is times 20. Times 20 and times 19. Oh, the times 19. Okay, I have some good news. It's really 20. The 19s are clips. So you build 20 of what's on that first row, and then you clip them together. So it's like there's 20 pieces and 19 clips between the pieces. So it's not that bad. But it is kind of bad. I feel like in the past I had an idea of setting up a teleprompter so I could read like stories when it got really repetitive, but it hasn't really happened. But this part is about to get repetitive. So I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to do something. And so if you got something you want to talk about, mention it in chat, and we're going to talk about it. Because we're about to do something 20 times. By the way, there is actually comment in chat right now. I'm going to put it on the screen. But I don't think it... See, it didn't really work. It shows up as like an emoji of a cat chilling. But when I put it on the screen through the YOLO box, the emoji is gone. I know the thumbs up emoji comes through, but I guess the chill W cat emoji doesn't come through. All right. So let's start building this thing. By the way, there's a big caution here. It's like one side has a slit, one side doesn't. Don't mess them up. We need 2 boards, by the way. Board 2 and board 3. All right, so it takes 2 15s and 4 17s. And then 2 18s. So that is... it's about 8 pieces, right? 4 17s, 2 16s, 2 18. That's 8 pieces. And then we're going to do that 20 times. We're going to do that 20 times. So is that going to be 160 pieces? 8 times 20. I think that's 160 pieces. So this is going to go from 40 to 200 pieces. Do you think we're really going to do 200 pieces tonight? Because that's only the first half of the page. Then we got to clip them together. That's 19 more pieces. But for now, I'll just add the 160 pieces. So we very quickly go into 200 pieces. In fact, I think it's kind of like sort of confident to count that 160 before we start doing it. Anyway, especially considering all these pieces need to be sanded and waxed. Like, that could take a while just to, like, Well, it's the circles that need to be waxed, but that could still take a while. All right, boards 2 and 3. Look at this. Mass production. All right. So 15, one's a 15, one's a 16. So we can't even really do it mass production style. We got to be careful we don't mess up. All right. Well, the 15s and 16s look different, so I'm just going to punch them all out. So I'll put them in the pairs, but I'm sure I could tell them apart even without them being in pairs. So we need 20 pairs of 15s and 16s. So again, it's time to talk, but I don't think I prepared enough content. Let me just think. I'll talk about SAT prep because I don't mean to cost people money, but the people in my experience, perhaps you know different or better. In my experience, the people who do best on the SAT books are the ones who... Oh, I gave away the answer by calling it books. The people who do best on the SAT test are the ones who buy the practice SAT book, and then they take the practice SATs using a timer, and then they grade their own SAT, and then they look into the questions they got wrong to try to do them better like next time so they don't get them wrong next time. Doesn't that sound easy and simple and logical? Well, that's how you study for the SAT. Just like that. There were supposed to be 20 of these pairings, I believe. Because there aren't. Unless there are more on the next page. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're not even close. 20 pairings. We still need like 11 more pairings. All right. Let's... All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay, we were up to 10. All right. I think, what are we up to? Episode 418? I don't think we've run across this before. I mean, we've kind of done assembly line stuff before, but not this dramatic. Not like 20 followed by 19. I mean, that 160 was just the first half of page 12. The second half of page 12 adds another 38 pieces. So there's 198 pieces on page 12. There's 198 pieces on page 12. You know how many puzzles don't have 198 pieces? This page has 198 pieces. But it's all like assembly line. You know, it's not really real. It's, we're going to do something 20 times, and then we're going to add 19 like attachments. By the way, what is a Celesta? Is it a type of piano? Is that a musical instrument, a Celesta? I don't know. I got to look that up. I wanted to do... I have a backlog of those compilation videos. I want to get into that, but I don't know. I've been busy lately. I started going into the office. I know that sounds like most people already were started that a year ago, but my company changed buildings, and I don't know. I got a lot of excuses, but basically I just recently started going back to the office, so I have even less time than I used to have. All right, so now we need twice as many. So right down here, here's 20 pairs of the 15/16s, which is 40 pieces. And now we're going to get 20 quadruples. Basically, we need 17 times 4 times 20. Well, no, 17 is the piece. We need it 4 times and 20 pairings. So that's like 80 pieces. And then they all need to be sanded and waxed because they need to be movable. So 17 is the piece. I don't know how I'm going to keep track of. I think I have to punch them all out and then sand them all and wax them all. They're only calling for wax, not sanding, but how could you not sand them? Maybe they figured they'll get sanded during use. So basically I'm going to put them all in one pile and then I'll wax them all. It's going to be difficult to know when I'm actually reached the 80 number. Wow, 80 pieces. That's crazy. Well, I think I just did 30 of them. They're not waxed yet. I just punched them out. Because there's 3 3s, 3 2s, that's 3 5s. That's 15. Alright, I only did 15 so far. Alright, let's get more aggressive. I just punched out 6 of them at once. But that still only gets us to 21. Aren't we supposed to go to 80? Well, there must be 17s on the other board. Because we got a long way to go. Yep, here's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, 21. There's another 21. Which is, again, only getting us like halfway. I mean, we only got 42. We need to go to 80. I'm wondering if I miscounted something. No, I mean, there's 20 pairings. It's a times 20. And there's 4 in each structure. 20 times 4 is 80. Am I like somehow wrong about that? Or is there another batch of 17 somewhere? There is. There's 6 more there. And probably the sheet I gave up on also has more. Alright, so we're up to 42 here so far. About to be 48 with these 6. Why is this board damaged? This is the first puzzle I'm doing where the boards are damaged. I don't even know. Are they clean? Are they burnt? Or they look like they're either dirty or burnt. Well, okay. Here's more and more and more. Alright. There's 50. And now look what's down here. 4. I can't even count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's probably 10, right? 5. No, it's 11. Alright. So 52. These pieces better go on easy. With so many to put on. Alright, it's going to be 61 in a second. And then we need to go look for 19 more. 17's probably on the board that we already put back. Oh, there's 6 of them. Gets us to 67. Wow. This is crazy. 67. Here's 2 more, 69. 2 more, 71. We still got 9 more to go. Alright, here we go. That's 8 more. We're going to be looking for 1 more 17 at the end. Alright. Well, we need one more 17. There it is. And then even then, we need to like lock them up somehow. These pairings. Yeah, I think we also need the 18s. I think we also need 40 18s. I'll wax these 80 pieces. We're going to need some assembly line style. Here's what I'll do. I'll stack them up. How many do you think I could stack at once? Let's try 5. Alright. I'm going to wax 5 at a time. Even that's going to take a while. When I could wax more than 5? Can I wax them all? Let me see how many I could get in my hand. At some point, there's like diminishing returns, right? I don't even know. I don't know. I think I got 8 right now. Alright, let's get these 8 waxed up. Alright. No, that definitely works. You definitely want to pinch as many as you can and wax them all at once. That's quicker somehow. Wow. You know what's another thing to do? We were talking about education earlier. To deconstruct how things work in your mind. They could be mechanical things. They could be philosophical things. They could be like range or visual or spatial. There could be anything, but deconstruct how they work in your head. There could be algorithms, you know. Like, even if something's already been built, think for yourself, like, how did they build it? And, like, try to recreate it in your mind. That's like another way to get smarter. You do that, you'll get smarter. It's like assigning yourself homework, but the thing is, it's all in your brain. I don't know, do you consider that homework? To me, it's like, it doesn't really cost me anything. If I'm just thinking in my brain, you could think in your brain while you're like sitting on the subway. Oh, you know what stops people from thinking these days? Phones and tablets. Because there's always the next thing to like stream or watch or debate or read. And people don't spend the time thinking that they used to. And then there's also, how do you think? Like, when does your thinking take place? Now, I just said, like, there's always something to, like, read, watch, listen, whatever. But it could be that for some people, that is stimulating. I know I sometimes, when I read books, I get a lot of ideas while I'm reading the books. And then when I start writing, I get even more ideas. Isn't that crazy? Like, at the point of writing, I'm thinking of ideas. And then it becomes like a race to like write it all out. And then once you've write it all out, then you can start editing it and making it good. And maybe you're going to write so much that it's like, instead of one blog, it's 5 blogs, or one book, it's 5 books, because you just, once you start writing, you know, everything opens up. You can keep going and going and going. Try that. Just write. I mean, you don't have to write with a pen. You could use a computer. You can type whatever you're comfortable with. Or you could speak. You know, you don't have to write. For some people, it's writing. For some people, it's speaking. For some people, it's drawing. For some people, it's painting. For some people, it's playing checkers. You know, like, whatever stimulates your brain and makes you think, do more of that. One thing I used to like is walking. In fact, I still like it. I didn't, my love of walking hasn't stopped yet. All right, I'm going to grab 40 18s because there's 20 of these pairings and they each need 2 18s, so that's 40 more pieces. So something about walking, I don't know if it's like the rhythm of walking or what it is, but something very good about it. Maybe that there's no stimulation other than the walking, and it like gives you time to think. By the way, at some point these turn from 18 to 19s. See, they're 19, 19. This one's 19. This one's 18. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but just be careful. So I'm just picking 18s right now. So I got 3. I should see where the split is. I think the split is here. So I'll take these 2 and then everything to the right. And I think I'm just going to start building. And when I run out of 18s, I'll find some more. Because we don't need to count the 18s, because they're going to be the end caps to the pieces that we've already counted. So it's like we'll know how many we need. We're not going to, we don't have to pre-count them. Like, it says 17 here. I'm not sure what that's all about. But I'm just grabbing 18s for now. Okay. All right, let's finally put one of these things together. So if we grab the 2 pieces, right? We put the 16, which is the one with the slit here, and then the 15, which is slitless, next to it. And then we start popping on the 17s. Hopefully these go on easy because we got to do this a lot. Let me see if that tool they gave us will help. I think it will. Yeah, I think that's going to help. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm going to have to somehow figure this out because I got to do it 80 times. And I don't want to break my fingers. Somehow we have to get that piece on. I've got to do this 80 times. Oh, I just had it the wrong direction. Okay, so you got to make sure you get it the right direction. All right, so none of this means anything until we put on the 18. That's when we're locking in the order. So the way the 18 goes on, it has like a circle and a slit. The circle goes on the 16 and the slit goes on the 15. And we do that at both sides. That's it. That's the first one of these pairs. 20 more to go. It actually wasn't that bad. I'm almost considering doing the pieces in the middle while we're at it, because they're just 19s. But we need to count out the 19s. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to count out the 38. So a 19 at each end, so it's 238. Yeah, 198 pieces on this page. I think after this page, though, we're done. We can't do any more pages tonight. That's enough pages. All right. If you get the piece going the right way, it should go on fairly easily. Though doing this 80 times is probably gonna, hurt your fingers. I don't know how to avoid that. Maybe you have like a tool that you can use to slide these on. I didn't think of one yet. I'm still just using my fingers. They did give you a little tool. It's not very good, but I guess it can save your fingers a little work at some points. The circle goes on the area with the slit in it. Alright, I got 2 of these built. So that means I can put on a 19. Actually, 2 19s. Let me just grab the 2 19s. I'm not sure how the 19s are different from the 18s. They kind of look the same to me. Alright, so if we get 2 of these going the same direction, do we go in the same direction? How do we know? I have to zoom in on the picture to see. Okay, so we get them both with the, you know that side with the tab? We put that on the left in both cases. So there's the little tab. And now it goes kind of reverse before. Now the circle goes on the untabbed and the slot goes on the, I'm saying tabbed, it's really sliced is the word. Okay. And then up top, it's the same. The rectangle goes on the sliced piece, and the circle goes on the unsliced. So that's it. We put two together. Now we just have like a million more to go. And at the end, it's going to be like wrapped around in a circle, right? Yeah, you can see it on the next page. So 13 is kind of a free page. There's nothing going on 13. It's just a green QC. All right, let's keep building here. Well, I wanted to stick on that one topic, but since this is boring, let's talk about politics, because it's like, I hate to do it, but it happens to be very exciting right now. So, the speaker was vacated yesterday. And now people trying to figure out like what's going to happen next. And one of the theories being floated is that Trump is going to be the new speaker. And I actually made a YouTube short about exactly that scenario. I made it like 6 months ago, and I don't believe that it's going to happen. I mean, if they vacated McCarthy, they could vacate Trump, and I don't think he would want to deal with that, especially he's in the middle of running for president. So, but when they asked him, he said, whatever's good for the Republican Party, he'll do it, which is kind of like, I mean, people were saying he didn't say no, but it's not like the Republican Party is going to ask him to do it. So he didn't say he wants to do it, and that's, in my opinion, that's effectively a no. Because, you know, he didn't say yes. He said if Republican Party asks, he'll do whatever is going to help them. Even that, it's not, he didn't even say like, I'll do what they ask. He said like, I'll do what'll help them, which is kind of like, when someone says like, you don't always get what you want, you get what you need. I think it's in a Rolling Stones song. Can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you'll get what you need. I think that's the kind of sort of answer he gave, you know. He'll do whatever is going to help them, which, you know, there's no reason to think that that would help them. Well, actually, maybe it would help them. I mean, he's, you know, Trump is a interesting guy. I know that that's like a overly simplified statement, but it is kind of interesting because everyone assumed that he was like a buffoon for like 50 years. And then he gets into politics, and he's somehow like better at it than all the people who've been working in politics their whole life. And that's a rather confusing. Like, is it like bad to be in politics? Do you get worse by staying in politics? Is it better? I actually had been thinking that sort of even before Trump came on the scene. I was thinking like, the simple phrase is term limits. But I was thinking like, why are people like, that's weird. Like when you're not in politics, you know what you need. It's like when you're a customer, you know what the company needs to do. But when you work for the company, it's tough to tell. Like if you're like, they have McDonald's or Wendy's, they have like people tell them, like, what do they call that when it's like a study, a consumer study? I forget what the word for it is. I know it's like very simple and I'm not thinking for it. In computers, it's A/B testing. In movies, it's a preview. It's basically you let the customers try something out and then see what they say. So like when you're a customer, you know what needs to be done. But when you're in the job, you don't. You lose touch with it. By the way, I lost a piece. I'm not going to stop and look for it. I'll find it either at the end or I'll get another one. I'm just saying that because Trump wasn't in politics, he probably was just thinking what he wished they would do for 50 years rather than the people who are in it, and they're thinking like, how the game is played. Like inside baseball kind of thing. Like how to win election, how to get the seat, how to get the money, how to get this, how to get that. Like they're not thinking like a person who wants something from the government. So maybe that's it. Maybe people shouldn't stay in their government positions long. Maybe they need to rotate in and out. But then if you do that, you'll be accused of like the revolving door. Like, oh, they go and they make the policy and then they leave and they get their payout or something like that. But really, you shouldn't stay in government too long. Like that should not, like the fear of like someone getting paid for their work shouldn't be an argument for people staying in office longer. They're already in there like long enough. They need to get out. And more importantly than those people getting out, the people who are in touch with what the population, the regular people, the citizens, what they need, we need to get those people in. It's like they're going to do their best work when they're straight from the position of need because they know what they need. Like politicians, I think in general, like kind of around the world, have lost their way recently. Like, I don't know what they're trying to achieve. Like, they used to know, like, that they're in charge of, not in charge of, but they're like responsive to the people and trying to be on their good side and do what's going to make them happy. Not in terms of like giving away free stuff, but like what's going to help them run their businesses and, help them be successful, because when the people are successful, the country is successful. But that's not what they're doing lately. Like the example I think of first is Justin Trudeau. I mean, he just seems like he wants to boss everyone around. He doesn't seem like, and in America, in New York City, they had someone like that for a while. It was this Bill de Blasio was his name. He was like, he thought his job was to like boss everyone around with like asinine ideas rather than listening to the people who know what they need. So I think Trudeau, from my perspective, he looks very similar to Bill de Blasio, who's considered the worst mayor in New York City history. But I guess it's up to Canadians to decide if Trudeau is that bad. Justin Trudeau, I'm talking about. I mentioned because his dad was also named Trudeau. So, yeah, Justin Trudeau. From my perspective, he looks pretty bad, but it's up to Canadians to decide. They could, if they decide that he's good, then he's good. You know, don't let me, say what Canadians need. Canadians should say for themselves what they need. Yeah. It's really weird. I remember they had that trucker thing in Canada like a year or so ago. Like, how could you not listen to the people? And he would go on interview, and I mean, I might be paraphrasing here, and maybe I don't remember it exactly correctly, but as I recall, he would go on interviews and say horrible things about them. The protesters, instead of listening to them. It's weird, when certain people protest, the politicians listen, but it's like when the people who, I don't know, the farmers, the truckers, the factory workers, for some reason, the government doesn't want to listen to them. I'm not sure what that's all about. They'll listen to people who are in the cities. My theory on the people in the cities is they're not really contributing much. I mean, they're just kind of in the city, and we're delivering food to them. And I know that they feel that they're very important, but I feel like life would go on without them. I'm not sure they're doing anything that important in the cities, but the people in the cities think they're doing stuff very important, and people like Trudeau and de Blasio seem to agree with them. They seem to be on their side. They, have disrespect of the sort of common man. I don't get it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone's going to tell me I'm saying something ridiculous. Oh, we have a Key Hopkins sighting. Let me get that up on the screen. Sorry that I didn't see that sooner. Wow, it's taken forever to show up. But there it is. Right back at you. All right. So what was I talking about? I don't know. Bill de Blasio's a bad mayor or something like that. Yeah, he just wasn't very good. He didn't get the point. He instead of listening to the people, he would listen to, I don't know what, some leadership forum or somebody put out or someone who wrote some article. He would listen to them rather than the people in the city who know exactly what they're dealing with. I don't want to give Trump too much credit because I don't 100%. I don't feel like I really know him that well. And I have to reserve somewhat, judgment. But for some reason, which was odd considering he's a billionaire, he seemed to understand what people want. He seemed to understand, gas prices and groceries, how important that is. And, he's probably not an idiot. He ran a business for a while. He got people to, compete with each other for the chance to, rent space in one of his buildings and drive up the price. He also got people to do the work, and I guess he hired the right people. That's not as easy as it looks, by the way. You would think oh yeah, someone else does the work. Yeah. That someone else can't mess up because you're putting your name on that building and you're getting the loans to complete that building. Like, it's not as easy as you would think. I know maybe it's not as hard either, but it's also not as easy. Basically, you have to do the job. I mean, someone's going to do it for you. There's going to be a builder. There's going to be all these different workers, but you have to watch over them. And even that's not easy because you have to know. Like, it's easy to just like have a rule like I'm always going to give some type of comment. But you can't always give some type of comment because sometimes it's better to leave well enough alone and to not touch something. And just leave it as it is. And then other times it's important to change something. And you need to know the difference between those times. And you need to make people feel like they're free to do their jobs, but at the same time, they got to do them right. Basically, what I'm saying about the jobs that he's worked, building things and managing things, they're type of jobs that are always like different. Like when you build a manufacturing plant, you can build it. I mean, I'm sure that there's, that it's not easy. I want to give those people credit as well. But you're making something that is going to just run and need maintenance. So like you got to get it set up the first time. You can tinker with it. You can do test runs. Eventually you're going to get it working. And then once you get it working, it's just a maintenance and a bandwidth, and it's kind of like easy going. I don't think Trump ever took those type of jobs. I think he was constantly working on jobs where you constantly had to be thinking, like every step of the way. All right, so this piece, my instructions just closed. I got to get them opened again. Hold on a second while I do that. Okay. All right, so, okay, 18 and then 19. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, but where do I get more? I ran out of 18s. I had been popping them out like crazy from one board. All right, there's more 18s here. So, and there's more 19s here. All right, so let's again pop out the 18s, and the 19s will pop them out as we go. Wow, 198 pieces on one page. I think the previous puzzle that we did before this was 298 pieces. So we're doing 198 pieces on a single page of instructions. That is crazy. But that's what we're doing. All right, now I need two 19s. All right, two 19s it is. This is crazy what we're building. It's like a centipede or something. I think it's going to be like a track that goes around. It's kind of like a bike chain, but it's actually going to be the sort of player piano. Oh, you can't see it. It's back here. Sort of the player piano of this, which is funny because before this I did, how do I not remember? Oh, I did a Model T Ford. And then before that I did a Dragon Castle, which had a player piano. So I'm up to episode 418. There's only been two puzzles that had a player piano, and it's this one and the puzzle that was two before this. Like, how is that possible? Well, that's what it is. Crazy as it is. Am I even halfway through this? I'm not sure. Let me see. 4, 7, 9. Yeah. Yes, I'm just past halfway. Wow. All right, time for 2 more 19s. Well, I feel like this is like a puzzle that I won't soon forget. 119 pieces on one page. Will not soon forget this puzzle. Building basically a bike chain from scratch. This is how a bike chain works, right? Oh, came out on top. Yeah. Yeah, look at this. That's basically how a bike chain works, I think. Yeah, we have to inspect the bike chain, but I think so. All right. 4 more end caps. Well, just for this one section. And then there's going to be more and more and more. I was fooling around with AI generated images. I think I feel the same way about the AI generated images as I feel about the green screens, which is that they're not letting the consumers use the real product. I feel like, you know how some hardware is like designed to fail? I feel like some software is like designed to not let you have professional product. Like every time the image would have a hand, it would have 6 fingers. It's like every time it would have a leg, it would be like twisted. Every time it would have a face, like basically the AI. It's not that it looked bad. Yeah, of course it did, but it was beyond that it looked bad. It was that I felt that the programmers could have fixed this. Like, you can't tell me that you can do this such impressive, images on the fly, but you can't count the fingers and make sure it's got the right number of fingers. Like, why is it every time it has 6 fingers? Like, I don't know. They should be able to fix that, to get the right number of fingers, I thought. A lot of these pieces are flaking as I'm taking them off. Just FYI. I don't think it's going to matter a lot, but it is true. They are flaking. Okay. Wow. Still got 7 to go, huh? 8 counting the one in my hand. I feel like, what happened? We're like going slower or something. I gotta speed up. Yep. Well, when I get the 18, I'll be able to push these pieces down. So I'll have the wood pushing for me rather than just my fingers. This is the 18, this piece. And then the 19 goes on top of that. But even once you put the 18 on, it already gets like snugger. this, that is what are they, 17s? Yeah, the singles are the 17s. And then the 18s are the ones that holds the two together, and then the 19s are the ones that connect it to the bike chain. 17, 18, 19. I feel like I'm having the easiest time with the 19s. I guess because a couple of pieces have already been put on. Kind of makes it easier. Like, you know that you can get the piece on. Because it's the third piece going over that one tab. Alright, we need more 18s again. Here's a row of 18s. I'm hurting my fingers popping them out. But such is life. I chose to do this, whatever I'm doing here. This blog, video blog, podcast, instructional video. I don't even know what I'm doing here. But I'm doing it every night. You know, I was thinking about that January 6th. There's a lot of controversy about that. And they say that they don't know how many agents and informants were there. And then there was also Antifa. So there's like paid agitators. There's also reporters, photographers. But even if you just go by the undercover agents, there's like 19 intelligence agencies. If each of them had a crew, like how many is that? And would their crews all go into the Capitol? That was a big thing, like who went into the Capitol and who didn't. Like some of the people who did go into the Capitol got like serious jail time. And then there was people who didn't go into the Capitol. There were people who like weren't even in the same state, but they got like prosecuted and got jail time. That was kind of confusing to me. Maybe that's the type of thing that'll be appealed, and maybe it'll change. It's kind of weird. Like, it's not that I'm for protesting in the Capitol, but what's weird to me is that Democrats have done this every time they've lost an election throughout history, and they never get arrested. Like, Republicans like have one demonstration and they got like the FBI, arresting them, and judges giving them 30 years. Something seems like really strange to me about that. Like, if the Republicans win the next election and Antifa protests, are they going to put them in jail this time? Because so far they haven't. So, I don't know. And I'm not saying that necessarily they should. But if they don't, then it's going to be quite, like, what's the word? Hypocrisy or something. Because right now, all those January 6th people are in jail, or many of them. So what's going to happen? Are Democrats going to stop protesting? Somehow I don't see that happening. So what is going to happen? I don't know. Well, it's almost like they intentionally make politics so that you can talk about it. It's like they want it on the news. But you know what I don't like most about politics? When they act like they're in charge. I know that in some countries they are in charge. But in America, they're supposed to be representatives. Meaning, like, they're just there because, you know, we're too busy to get there. And they're supposed to go to Congress and represent us. But I feel like a lot of them are thinking that they're the ones who are in charge. And I don't know where they're like, why are we letting them get away with that? I feel like the TV is like backing them up. Like they're telling a falsehood and the TV is like backing them up. And it's kind of like wrong. And then who does the TV work for? Like some people say it's like the deep state, and it's like the politicians are getting there and just doing whatever, you know, all the other like operations. There's assistants, there's lobbyists, there's aides, there's bureaus and agency. There's all this like permanent government people. But the politicians are the ones that are like voted on by the people. They're supposed to be our voice. They can't just go there and do whatever these like permanent government employees tell them to do. I mean, then what's the point of us having representatives? You see? There's like something to it. I know when they say like, oh, it's deep state, you're a conspiracy person. I mean, it's not a conspiracy to say that the government workers vastly outnumber the representatives of the people, and we need to make sure that the people we've entrusted are the people in charge. It can't just be anybody. It can't be, for example, just as an example, like Fauci. Like nobody elected him anything. He's not representing anybody. He's just a government employee, which is fine, but he's not our representative. Nobody elected him. So there's something to it. It's not simply I don't even know how that even could ever be labeled a conspiracy theory. I mean, yeah, there's agencies, there's bureaus, and they stick around longer than the president. There's like, that's just a fact. There's nothing like, you don't need any conspiracies. You don't need to like think anything up. You don't need to listen to like Alex Jones to know that. That's like how the government works. They advertise it on their webpage. It's not a secret. All right. I see we have 3 of these left. I can't believe it. If we actually do 198 pieces on one page, that's crazy. So 238. Yep. Yeah. That's something, all right. 238 pieces. We can't. How many did we come into the night? Just at 38, right? Or maybe even like 30 at the beginning. Well, it's only night 2. So, whatever we finished at yesterday, we started at today. Are these all 19s? They look like they are. I'll just take them 2 at a time here. Wow. Surprised this is going as well as it is. Because there's some nights when I can't get any pieces together. And here we are doing 198 of them. I guess they're easy pieces. Alright, we need 5 more 18s. There's 2 more. They came out with crap sticking to them. We need 3 more 18s. There's 4 more here. So let's grab 3 of those for now. And the 19s we'll keep taking out as we go along. The systems work this far. Let's stick with it. Oh, we also probably need one more 17 because I dropped one on the floor before. But we'll wait until we get to the point where we need it. Or maybe I just never popped out enough 17s in the first place. I'm sure there's more somewhere. I'd be surprised if I actually put all of these pieces in the right places. Because I've barely been paying attention. Maybe I got them right, maybe I didn't. I don't really know. I guess we'll find out at the end when it works or not. I hope we're not going to end up in a position where we have to take everything apart and check for the one piece that isn't working. Wow, that one piece is not going in. At either end, what is going on here? Yeah, something's not working here. We're just going to make it work. Nope. Not going in there. All right. Didn't want to have to resort to this, but it'll either break or it'll go on. No, another alternative. It could lift up the lower piece. That's what it's doing. All right, that didn't work. All right, I'm just going to push it from the top. It might break this whole thing. And then the whole chain link is not going to work. All right, I'm going to pull it off. It's obviously not going on. Not sure why, but it's not. Wow, the whole thing came out. It's broken. Did they give us any extras of these? They better have. I don't know what to do if they didn't. Okay. Well, they gave us at least one extra. Okay. I think it's this one that's broken, so that's the one we're going to fix. Okay. That's going to have to be replaced. All right. So we now have 2 broken pieces. And we need another 18, but we can get it some other time. All right. Wow. Well, now it's working. The replacement piece worked just fine, but we're now living on the edge. They only gave us one extra set, and we used it. Well, we used one. There was an extra 15 and an extra 16, and we used the extra 15. So we're basically cannot break another 16. Or we're not going to finish this. Or was it a 15? It was a 15. We have another 16. We broke a 15. And we broke an 18. I don't know how many extra 18s there are. Maybe there were no extra 18s. There's got to be at least one, right? All right, we only got 2 more to go. We got this far without any problems. Hopefully we can do 2 more. Wow. Imagine if we'd messed up on the first one instead of the Second to last one, we probably would have like given up and thought it was too hard. I guess it's good. I guess it was good that we were like talking about different things and not paying attention. You know, sometimes you should pay attention. I'm not saying you shouldn't pay attention, but certain activities can go smoother if you don't pay attention. Especially ones where inhibition can lead to error. Not paying attention can work out, but obviously you shouldn't do that. Like while driving, you need to pay attention. You absolutely need to pay attention while driving, and there's a lot of other situations like that. All right, this is a 19. We need more 19s, and I don't know that we have any other 19s. Here we go. 2 more 19s. All right. That's a 19 as well. All right. After this, we're up to the last one. But I don't know if we've got enough pieces to complete everything. Well, we'll somehow do it. We'll somehow get it done. One way or another, we'll get it done. All right, last one. Why are we short 2 17s? Oh, because we dropped one on the floor, and one of them is stuck on this piece. All right, so that's that. Should I look for the one on the floor, or should I just look for another one? I'll take one quick look at the floor. I could turn on the flashlight, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to try to find this an extra 17. There's got to be an extra one. By the way, here's 18. I just know that we're also going to need another 18. We're also going to need another 19. So I'm on, and there's another 19. All right, so we're good. We still didn't find the 17, though. All right, here's the 19. And there's a 17, so we did find it. All right, let's do this. So we're into the spare parts on every type of piece. Good thing they gave us spare parts. They didn't really give us a lot when you consider that we had to make 20 connections. We easily could have like ran out of pieces, and then the whole bike chain is not gonna be finishable. So I thought this puzzle was easy. You know, I was thinking that it's gonna be easy, but it's really not, because if you break one of these pieces, or if you break 2 or 3, whatever it takes to run out of spare parts, then this whole system is not gonna work. All right. We're up to adding the 19. We're at the end here. Piece 197. Add it up top there. And then here's piece 198, just from this one page. 198 pieces on one page, which we used to build basically this bike chain looking thing. I don't know. There it is. Okay. That's what we built. That's what we just spent 30 minutes or an hour basically. We spent an hour on that. That might get fast forwarded in the compilation. All right. page 13 is just a check of this and a notification that this is heretofore referred to as A6. That's page 13. Page 14. Oh, yeah, it's time to put it together, but it's an hour and 48 minutes already, so we're going to do that not tonight. I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night, and see you tomorrow.